Let's talk about results. I've recently been reflecting on the kind of results that I've managed to create in my life. And one thing I've noticed is that the kind of results that I have created, for the most part, have been inner results. Results around all around my mind, all around changing the character of who I am. Now, while those are some of the most important results to get, such as your ability to enjoy the present moment, or your ability to have a high self-esteem, your ability to have confidence. Here, one sec. Your ability to have confidence, or training yourself to actually be able to focus, training yourself to be disciplined and to stick with a habit for a very long period of time. All these things are the results that you're after and hard won. And these results are all very hard won. But I realize as well is that they're very hard to communicate to people because it's so individual with how much you've grown on your own. It's basically impossible to communicate where you were to where you are now. And that's kind of the bittersweet thing with personal development, is that the hardest work, the inner work, no one's going to really know how much you've suffered in silence to get that result. And I've been reflecting on, the results that really people care about are the ones that, are things that you can easily see. So the money, right? Basically anything around money, the body, whether or not you have a hot girlfriend, or everything you can see really. And I've noticed with myself, like for example, I've been making a transition from less on the spiritual results and less on the inwards results, and more on the outwards results, getting attention on YouTube and all that stuff. And it's been very interesting kind of making that switch as of recent. But I realize too, very few people do it in that order. A lot of people will chase the materialistic success, and then they will eventually realize, like, oh shit, like I need to like cultivate peace with myself. I need to rid my own traumas. Because the thing is that you can make a lot of strides. You can embody a lot of good habits. But unless you've really done the inner work, the shadow work, you're going to find yourself at a bunch of natural glass ceilings. You're going to find a lot of glass ceilings, basically. And you're going to wonder why can I not progress? And it's all too often that people will spend their entire lives chasing external results, falling on their face again and again without turning inward to get the internal results. Anyways, I'm going to shift it a little bit, but still be talking about results here. When you're looking at the kind of people you want to let in your life, or looking for mentors that you want to be mentored by, what kind of results do they have? In general, if someone doesn't have the result of a relatively fit body, I'm going to immediately question their ability to have efficacy in every other domain of their life. Because your body, for example, is something you're going to be living with all the fucking time. And if you can't maintain that, how are you going to be able to maintain a business or whatever? And now there's a lot of exceptions to that where people just chase the money and they just let their health go down the tubes. But I've really noticed that a really good barometer is to look at what results people have. So, okay, besides the body, there's, the money they make, of course, or how much attention they've managed to get. Or, for me specifically, how many views have they gotten on their videos? How many subscribers have they gotten? And how many commenters are there on their videos? Like, how much are they getting people to engage? And you'll notice that people that can create those kind of results, for example, it's very easy to communicate your value to people because you've made something. And really, that's kind of how you have to start thinking about your self-worth in the eyes of other people, because you can know how much you're worth just based on what you've accomplished, with the inner work. But as far as communicating that, that's all going to be the externals. And that's kind of like really, so for me, that's been really penetrating that idea where it's like, well, shit, like I have to like tell people stories of how, of where I came from for them to understand like my worth. Just of how much I had to like fix myself. Whereas, that's a long time where like, to market yourself like that is super difficult because a lot of it too is it's all talk. Whereas if you have like a Lamborghini or, whatever flashy stuff with your money, that shows that you've managed to create some sort of result to earn the money to actually get that. Or someone could just glance at your YouTube channel and see like, oh, this guy gets millions of views. What's really interesting to me now, what comes up in my mind now, is that what if you just lived your life in a way where every action you take is designed to produce a result? So the time you wake up and the time you go to sleep and what habits you do and what vices you choose to not partake in, what activities you choose to do, like what specific actions you take, what results is that going to actually create for you? And if the answer is, and also what external results, like, and if the answer is like, oh, it's not going to create much external results, then it's time to reevaluate what the hell you're doing in your day-to-day life. Because I've really noticed, and of course this is obvious, but it hit pretty hard for me just the other day that you could say 95% of your problems is just as a result of your lack of money, your lack of funds that come in. And I know it's like not exactly that number, but I'm just picking that because I realize like this year, for example, a lot of the stress that I've had has been around jobs that I've had to do, or that I chose to stay in, that I didn't want to stay in. And it was the only reason I stayed there was because of the money that I earned. And I realized all the stresses and all the times that I was mad at, so and so. All the times I was mad at my boss for just being a complete jerk. I realized all that could just be avoided if I just wasn't needing the money. Or at least if I didn't feel like I needed the money. And so now my life has been a lot more of, okay, well, how can I just focus my life entirely on creating results? Where if it's not directly working on something to create a result, then completely take it out. Just that idea alone of creating the results you need to set yourself financially free, that will focus you quite a bit. I'm almost forgetting, actually, just how much I've managed to focus myself relative to the normie that's distracted still with partying, video games, drinking, whatever. So yeah, I guess to leave you with this talk, I want you to ask yourself, what result do I want right now? Because you only can have a few desires, otherwise your attention is going to be spread. What one result do I want to create? And what am I doing? What do I need to do to actually create that result? And what am I doing that is distracting me from creating that result? Basically, making the distinction in your mind to what are all the activities that are directly feeding the result, and what are the activities that are not feeding the result. Pick one, start with one, and just see how much you can actually how many mountains you can actually move. What if you just focused on one thing for 100 days straight? Nothing else. Or even just 100 hours. If you put 100 hours into one thing, what kind of result do you think you could make? Rather than having your attention splayed everywhere. So yeah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.